And don't just stop at learning your own attachment style. Learn the attachment styles of those people that you love. I love to ask people what their childhood was like for this specific reason. It gives me a better idea of who they are and what might trigger them so that I can approach them with much more compassion. I always try to leave people better than I found them. I want them to have a positive experience with at least one person in their life. We're all broken in one way or another, but one positive interaction will allow them to heal, even if it's just a little bit. And we all need to heal. Good morning, challengers, and welcome to day 15 of the 21 Days to Discover You Challenge. This is Ballori, your transformation coach. In our journey to understand our wiring, we explored the importance of authenticity in relationships. We revisited our inner child. We nurtured self-love, and we confronted our survival mechanisms. Now, there's one more influence on how we experience life, and that is our attachment style. So, what are attachment styles? Our interactions with caregivers in early childhood shape deeply ingrained patterns of behavior known as attachment styles. And these styles influence how we perceive and relate to others throughout our lives, not just in childhood. So attachment styles can be triggered by various factors, especially during moments of stress and vulnerability. Here are the 4 styles to help you identify which style you might have. So the first attachment style is the secure attachment style, and this is the baseline. This is where we want to be. Generally, people with secure attachment styles will be comfortable with emotional intimacy, and they're able to maintain a sense of security even during challenging situations. They're generally less triggered by specific events, but can be reinforced through consistent positive interactions with caregivers, partners, and friends. So generally, these people will have a childhood that has consistent and responsive caregiving. Children who consistently receive comfort and support from their caregivers when distressed learn to trust others and feel confident in their relationships. Now, the next style is anxious attachment. Anxious people will generally be triggered by perceived threats. So perceived rejection, perceived abandonment. So how they generally are is you'll notice these people are usually trying to figure out what's going on with their partner. Why is their partner not available? What are they doing? They feel anxious when their emotional needs are not being met properly. So an anxious attachment style person's childhood would be involved with inconsistent caregiving. Caregivers are sometimes responsive and sometimes they're not. So these people tend to develop an anxious attachment style. Not sure what to expect. They're walking around on eggshells. They might become hypervigilant to signs of rejection and abandonment and struggle with insecurity and anxiety. Now, the third form of attachment is avoidant attachment. And these people are generally triggered by situations that require emotional vulnerability or closeness. So in a relationship where they feel like there's a lot of emotional demands and they feel very overwhelmed by intimacy, what you'll see is these folks will withdraw and become very distant. And their childhood was usually one of neglect and dismissiveness from their caregivers. So caregivers in this case are consistently unavailable or dismissive of their needs. So the avoidant will learn to suppress their emotions and avoid seeking comfort from others. And this ends up developing into their adult relationships. If something gets hard, if it's getting too intense, they'll just kind of pull out of that relationship. And the last form of attachment is disorganized attachment. People with disorganized attachment get triggered by reminders of past traumas and experiences of inconsistency or unpredictability in relationships. So these people will struggle with regulating their emotions and behavior in response to perceived threats, leading to confusion and ambivalence in relationships. So their childhood is generally a little more traumatic or abusive. Children who are experiencing trauma, abuse, and inconsistent caregiving, such as parental substance abuse or domestic violence, tend to have a disorganized attachment style. They may struggle to trust others and may exhibit unpredictable behaviors in relationships. In our adult lives, we tend to migrate to individuals and situations that are familiar to us, even if they're not good for us. But by becoming aware of our triggers, we can start to actively make decisions to change those patterns and attract in experiences and people who will maybe trigger us less or not at all and allow us to be more secure in our relationships. And so with the right people and the right support system and effort, you can shift to a secure attachment style. Now, if you notice, all of these topics that we've been touching on during this challenge intricately weave in and out with each other. And that's why going through a transformation journey on your own can be so tough, because there's so many moving parts and it's hard to figure out what's impacting what. But working with a coach like myself who has the experience to zoom in and out of the details and find the connecting pieces makes the process a little more manageable. So if you want support to work through whatever is coming up for you, if you're not able to get the breakthrough that you want from this challenge, book a complimentary call with me. Let's have a conversation and figure out what the best plan of action for you is to start working through this. I'm going to leave my link to book a call with me in the description and in my bio. So book the call, let's have a conversation. Now, I want you to also realize that your attachment style can creep into different aspects of your life, including your work, in terms of how you deal with challenging situations. How are you in terms of communicating your needs or your ideas? How are you with superiors? So imagine if you have grown up all your life being told that what you say doesn't matter, no one wants to know. How likely are you to actually present your ideas openly to your colleagues? And by leaving your ideas and thoughts unknown, you are actually losing opportunities to excel in your career. So learning what your style is and how you get triggered will not only help you in personal relationships, it will help you in multiple areas of your life. And it's not important to just learn your own style. Try to learn the attachment style of people around you, the people that you care about. It allows you to see situations through their lens so that you're not personalizing their reactions or projections to yourself. I love to ask people about their childhood because of this very specific reason. It gives me a good idea of who they are, how they feel and see situations in the world, and what might trigger them so that I can at least approach them with more compassion. So today's prompt is to identify what your attachment style is. What childhood experiences have influenced your attachment style? What similarities or differences do you see between people and experiences in your childhood and your adult life? How is your attachment style impacting your relationships and your sense of self? How does it show up in your professional life? What steps can you take to nurture healthier attachment patterns? Do you have anyone in your life who can support you and is helping you to create more positive experiences in terms of relationships, whether that's platonic or romantic? And today's tip of the day is practice active listening in your interactions. Pay attention not only to what's being said, but also to your own emotional responses. Understanding how you react can shed light on your attachment style and help you to foster more meaningful connections. So thank you for joining us for this challenge and being courageous enough to explore the intricate weaves in and out of experiences and elements of your personality that make up who you are. I want to acknowledge all of you and thank you for trusting me to guide you through this healing journey to discover, unleash, and transform yourself so that you can lead your extraordinary life. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow.